Hey everyone, this video is going to be a little bit different than a lot of my past videos. And in this video, I want to talk about self-promoting, specifically at a comic book convention. So this is like a situation where you're going to a comic book convention and there are creators there you probably want to meet. Typically you definitely want to meet some line artists, because if a line artist likes you and likes your work, they may recommend you on a project when they have the chance. Also, it's not a bad idea to meet writers as well, because writers frequently will put together creative teams, especially for like independent books. And so that's another way to get in on a job. But also, if there's editors present, if there's publishers present, you're going to want to meet them as well. And this video is going to cover my basic strategy of how to promote yourself as a colorist at a comic book convention. All right. So recently I was doing some last end of the year conventions where I knew there was going to be people I wanted to talk to and do my own, promote myself. Because unfortunately, as, creators, colorists, artists, whatever, in the comic book industry, we're not just artists. We have to, be our own hype man. We have to kind of be carnival barkers for ourselves so that people see our work, people in the industry see our work, and so that we can continue getting work. And it's kind of a pain in the butt, because I prefer to just be doing the work. I don't want to have to be doing all the self-promotion, but unfortunately it's a necessary evil. And if you're like me, it doesn't come naturally, because I'm a bit of an introvert. And so being sociable drains my energy pretty fast, but it's something you kind of have to force yourself through. So first of all, in preparation for these conventions, since I knew there were going to be people I wanted to talk to and get my work under their noses, I wanted to make sure I had a decent package to be able to present to them. And one of the things I think is nice to have some physical copies of your work. And I've done this several different ways. Sometimes I've had color samples that I printed out local print shops, or from some services online, or even on my own printer. If you have a good enough printer to do that, you can. This time I decided to try Vistaprint, simply because they had advertised to me and gave me a discount code on these new booklets that they're doing. And so here is that. Basically, you put together a PDF and they print out a booklet of your colors. And what I liked with this too is they provided the color profile, so I could convert my colors into that color profile and know how they're going to be printed out, and make any adjustments if you need to, even though they're pretty close to the way they printed for the actual publications. So here I created a cover. Basically used a cover from an issue of Star Trek Year 5 that I've worked on recently, and then I put my little signage up in the corner there as my name, what I do, and my website. And then, all right, opening up, here's some of the interiors of it, and you'll notice on every page on the top I have my name, colorist, what I am, and my email. And then I also like to include, which I put on the bottom, who I did these pages for, so then they know that I'm a professional. I've worked with recognizable publishers. So here, this is from a book that I did for Image and 12 gauge. And here, more Star Trek, same thing on the top. And then, client IDW publishing. And then, all right, so the last inside back cover and the back cover, this I mentioned that I just colored for portfolio, just because I haven't done any big 2 stuff in a while. So, but I want I like to include that or include some more mainstream samples in there, just in case. So I had those printed out. Then on Amazon, I found these poly bags that are about the same size, and basically then, all right, let's put that up. All right, so then I have this like little small folio thing, and I just had filled it with these. And so basically I have the booklet printed out, and then I have my business card placed in there, and I have the contact information facing outwards. And so that way I can easily, if they want physical samples, well, first of all, I can show them the loose one if they want to see it, and then I can hand them one of these, and it's a self-contained package. They'll get my samples on my card, and since it's in this self-sealing or resealable poly bag, it won't go anywhere. So I thought this would make a pretty good presentation for a sample package that I can give to people at the convention. So I had that ready. I was carrying that around with me, and like I said, it's smaller booklet and smaller folio. So it's, you can see the size just compared to my hands, right? So it's something that's easy to carry around. And also, not everyone necessarily wants to see or take physical samples. They just want to see what you have. So I also brought my smaller iPad and open it up. And so basically, I just have created an album with a lot of the same samples. And as you can see, a lot of the same samples. I can see that it's taking the camera a little bit to adjust to each one. But so basically I have my samples on my iPad as well, so they can see it digitally. And frankly, colors always look better on a digital screen than they do in print anyways. So that way it gives everyone an option depending on what they want to see, and so I have something that they can take with them if they want it, or they can just look at this. And of course, in addition, since not everyone's going to want the booklet, they will still probably want a way to contact you. So you always want to make sure you have just your business cards. And I have this nice little case. I also found this on Amazon. It's magnetically sealed, and then it fits a ton of business cards in there. And so then that way, they want once they've looked at my samples on my iPad, or just looked at the booklet but didn't want to actually take it, I can just easily slip them a card. So then that way they can email me or contact me on social media, or contact me through my website. Several options on there. And I also want to point out, most creators nowadays don't call. They email. I haven't actually spoken to an editor on the phone probably in over a decade now. It's changed. But with the cards, like the front is like nice, smooth, and glossy, but I always choose a matte back with a relatively light color. So that way, if you want to, you always have a pen with you, and you can write down your phone number just in case they want it. But I also, with these business cards, if I'm tabling at a convention, I'll have these out so just the general public can come and take one and find me, online or my website or whatever. And frankly, I don't want them to have my phone number, so that's why I don't usually put my phone number on the business cards. I choose to just write them on there if someone actually wants my phone number. That's a decision that's up to you. So basically, when I have all these my samples ready in the different formats. Then at the actual convention, I try to get there early. Beat the rush if you can, and then I just start doing my rounds. Uh, you know, I want to first of all get the lay of the land, see where the people I want to meet are. Familiarize myself with the environment of the convention. Figure out what the people are, figure out where if there's publishers there, figure out where their tables are. And of course, if you see someone you want to talk to, especially early in the convention, and they don't have a line, that's the best time to go and introduce yourself, because if they don't have a line, then you can talk to them a little more casually. They can look at your samples and take their time at it. It's just a better experience. But a lot of times, a lot of creators won't be at their tables early on, and you'll have to swing back around to find them. And sometimes it can be difficult, especially if they're a very popular creator and they get a huge line as soon as they show up. But you just got to keep making rounds and try to find the best opportunity to speak with them. And sometimes that might even mean waiting in line. But you also have to make sure that they aren't doing something restrictive where, they're having a plan where people come up, get something signed, move on, because that's not a good environment to talk to someone on a professional level. So you have to try to see if you can find them without the crowds. And then, and for me, it's usually like a lot of just walking around, covering the same area, looking for the people I want to talk to. And it's also, if you already know editors and creators, good to talk to them as well. Even if you've worked with them even in the past, just to reaffirm your relationship, and so they can see your face and remember that you're still out there. It's always good to remind people that you exist. So you'll want to do that as well as meeting people you've never met before and trying to cultivate a new professional relationship with someone. And then also with publishers, it's kind of nice if you know that it's like, okay, there's a publisher and then there's going to be an editor, and you know that that specific editor is going to be there, because then you can go up to the publisher's table and ask for that specific editor and talk with that editor. Or if you don't know who's there, you can go up and ask if there's anyone there that you can talk to and show your work to. And a lot of times they might have someone there that can look at your work, or at very least take one of your sample packets and take it back to their offices after the convention's over. So that's what I usually try to do during the convention hours. Now, another important aspect of conventions is really the after hours aspect of it. And a lot of times after the convention's over, a lot of creators will gather at maybe like the hotel bar. And if there's multiple hotels in the area, you might want to find out where people are gathering if you can. Again, like the more people you know, the easier this gets. But anyway, so try to make an appearance where people are there at like the hotel bar and just chilling. Now, for me personally, I don't feel that the after convention hour thing is a different type of promotion, different type of networking, because this is just where you want people in the industry to learn who you are as a person and just get to know you as a person, and it's not necessarily about your work. So you don't really want to go up like you would at the convention. You don't want to go up to people and say, it's like, oh, I'm a colorist, look at my samples. Now, instead, you might just go up and introduce yourself if you haven't already. It's kind of nice if you had already met them at the convention, then you go up to them and it's like, oh, hey, whoever you are, or whoever they are, and reaffirm yourself again so that they recognize your face. Like, oh yeah, I remember you. I talked to you earlier today. And then, sometimes if you're feeling generous, you could offer to buy them a drink. And then just try and chat and you know work your way into the conversation without being a menace. You don't want to be too assertive. Um, again, this is where the socializing skills come in, and it can be difficult. Um, but you just got to try your best, and um, and so basically, like I said, this is more of socializing, so you don't necessarily want to talk shop. However, you get a bunch of comic book creators together. Sometimes the conversation does go into talking shop, and if by chance it does come back to your work and someone there says like, oh, what does your work look like? They're curious, and you don't, like I said, you don't want to bring your samples with you. Like, you don't want to bring the sample packets. You probably don't even want to be carrying around your iPad at a bar, but you still want to be able to show them if they ask. So I also have the same little photo album that I have on my iPad. I also make sure to load that onto my phone, and so that at the very least you can show it to them on your phone. I'd show you what that looks like, but I'm using my phone to record this video right now. So, but everyone knows what a phone looks like and what the photos look like. So basically, you just create a photo album that contains your color samples and have that there, and if it comes up naturally, then you can show it. It's always good to have it on you just in case, and prepared just in case it comes up. But like I said, the after convention environment should be, in my opinion, should try to remain social as much as possible, and just so that they can like you as a person as well as an artist. And then of course, probably the if it's like a 3-day convention, say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, usually the best after show environment is on Friday nights and Saturday nights, because a lot of times on Sunday nights people have already like packed up and getting prepared to leave. Maybe they've already left, or they have an early flight or a long drive in the morning, so they're getting to bed early. So you might not see as many people at the bar Sunday night, but Friday and Saturday night is probably the best times. And the nice thing about that is the people that you meet in the bar, they'll probably be at the convention again the next day. So it's a good idea to then try to track them down. If you see them at the convention, again, go up, introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself again, and hopefully they remember you from the night before. Hopefully they didn't get too drunk. That's the other thing. When you're at the bar, try not to get wasted. You don't even have to drink anything alcoholic if you don't want to. Just have a soda or something. Because I've known people who have embarrassed themselves at bars, and that's not good professionally, in my personal opinion. So don't try. So try not to get wasted at the bar. But anyways, and hopefully you didn't get too wasted. They didn't get too wasted. So then when you see them at the convention the next day, you remember each other, and you can then reaffirm that earlier introduction. And when you're at the convention, that's a better time to then say, like, hey, would you like to see my work? And then that's where you can get them to see your work, and give them your business card or your sample packet or whatever. And like, again, like at these conventions with these networking situations, it's basically introducing yourself and then reaffirming that introduction. And so then after the convention's over and you're at home, and the people that you've met and talked with gave you their contact information, or even connected with you on Facebook or Twitter, it's always a good idea to send them an email or a DM just to say, it's like, hey, I just wanted to say it was great meeting you at this convention. Maybe thanks for looking at my work. I hope to see you at a new convention. Blah blah blah. Again, nothing pushy, just going in and just saying it was nice to meet them, and again reaffirming who you are, so that they don't forget you. And then hopefully, you'll throughout the years going to conventions, you'll see them over and over. You usually see a lot of the same people, and that's how you develop those networking and professional relationships through conventions. So that's my strategy. That's usually how I do it. And just like anything else, there's probably other tips and other things that you can do. And if there's something that you do that you think is a great idea, when you come to the comments, please leave a comment and say what your tip. If I hadn't mentioned it, I'd love to hear how you handle convention promotion, if you've done it, or if you disagree with some of the things I suggest. Feel free to put your opposing suggestion as well. That's fine. Like I said, there's multiple ways to do it, and sometimes there's probably better ways to do it. So besides that, I always have to do my plug for my Patreon page. I have a Patreon page, and I post my videos on there first, and usually for like a month, and then the next month I make it public to all the subscribers on YouTube. So if you enjoy my videos and you get something out of it, please consider coming and supporting me on Patreon. All my Patreons get the early access to my videos. So even in the cheapest $1 tier, you'll get access to my videos and all the other content that I'm posting on there. I have even more. If you go into higher tiers, I have even more content that could be useful to you, including some of my work files. If on the $5 tier, you can download some of my work files and dissect my layers, and maybe even attempt coloring those pages yourself. Higher ones, I offer coaching sessions. But anyways, any support is always appreciated. And of course, just you watching my video is also very appreciated, and especially if you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all those levels of support, and I thank you for that. So I think that's all for this episode. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I probably should stop. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out on future videos. Also, if you're really serious about becoming better at digital coloring, enroll in my online courses, and be sure to check out my past videos as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.